Perttu, welcome to Radioacktiva, Colombia. How are you?
Thank you. It's wonderful year in a way that finally, after a couple of miserable COVID years, we began to be able to do tours and concerts more. And apparently, in the springtime, we also have a chance to do the South American tour, including Colombia. So it's definitely something that I have been waiting for eagerly. And of course, world is totally nuts. There's so much shit going on all the time everywhere, but at least like in our business, it's a little light in here that people seem to have been enjoying lots seeing live concerts after long waiting, and for us musicians it's fantastic as well, of course.
Cool. And how's the tour so far? Because you just mentioned Latin America, but you've been all over during the last year.
Yeah, this last year has been interesting in a way that there still were a lot of countries that the traveling was not possible. For example, even Europe and European tours, they have been very impossible to do because basically changing a country every day seemed to have been so complicated, like with different rules and stuff. So this year we have only been able to go to USA and twice made a long tour in the States, and then some festivals, mostly in Finland. Of course, we tried to play country than ever possible, but next year will look more regular in a way that we already should have finally that European big tour that is postponed for a couple of years already, and as well as all the South American plans. So towards the light, I think.
Okay, perfect. Not long ago, I heard "I'll Get Through It," and I read that
Yep.
the song was written by Diane Warren. How did Diane Warren's song? She has written songs for Aerosmith, Starship, Cher, ended up in Apocalyptica. What's the story there?
Actually, the first time we worked with Diane was already, I think, 15 years ago when she wrote the "Not Strong Enough" song for us, which was sung by the Shinedown guy, Brent Smith. And back then, we just she had the song approached us that she thought that would be a perfect and beautiful cello ballad in a way. And of course, we are always like eager and curious about all kinds of possibilities to work with different people. If somebody offers us a great song, we might listen to it and think that actually we could make this a very beautiful Apocalyptica song. So we really always keep our eyes open and minds open for all kinds of suggestions. And I'll Get Through It is pretty much the same kind of a story that actually Frankie and Geezer, the Black Sabbath bass player, they had the band Deadland Ritual already years ago, and they used to play a lot together. So actually Diane approached them. They got the song first. And because we have such a long and good history with Frankie, he then thought that he would need Apocalyptica into that track, of course. And then it became just like a really cool combination of a bunch of friends and great artists. And it's, of course, a privilege and such an honor to work with, for example, with Geezer, kind of that kind of type of a legend who has unique sound, who has been influencing the entire rock scene, and especially the bass part of the rock scene so tremendously a lot. So we are like, what? They are offering us a song with this and this. Oh, of course we are in, and wow. And it's actually a beautiful theme and reminds me in a way of some of Diane Warren's songs that she wrote to Aerosmith, actually. And I always thought that I'll Get Through It should be something like Armageddon 2 sequel soundtrack song, and like yeah, let's destroy the world with meteors.
But it's interesting. You have a new song with Geezer, but not long ago you also released White Room, a Cream song with Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. So how did the approach to record those songs, or that one, White Room particularly, happen? Having the classic style in bass from Geezer, but the sort of new metal voice in a classic track by Cream from Jacoby Shaddix, but with Apocalyptica. You see, there's some mix there.
there is always the mix, and actually I don't have clever answers to all of this, except that I feel that Apocalyptica, we are a unit that we like to challenge ourselves, and we love to try always new kind of stuff. So it means that we are always considering tracks or any kind of projects in a way that we think that can we turn this out to be something exciting for ourselves, and can we challenge ourselves with anything new or any fresh ideas that for us it has always been like the fuel or our biggest motivation, not to just repeat ourselves but to challenge and find that what all we can do with our instruments in this world. And for example, Jacoby is a old friend already, like we've seen each other since 20 years probably, and he's one of those guys that we have talked throughout the years that whenever there just is a good or crazy enough idea, we should do something together. And many times vocal cooperations, they happen this way, that you have the contact and kind of then it just takes a long time. But we also worked a couple of times with the great producer from LA, Howard Benson. And actually, when he heard that there would be possibility for him to combine Apocalyptic and Jacoby, he suggested actually the Cream song for us. He thought that it could sound crazy, cool, fresh new combination, and we are like, yes, we are into this, something that we never did before. But still, even we are like, I totally realize that we are often jumping from totally from a side to another, and it suits to our like multiple minds in a way. I still feel that the cello is such a glue in between something, that everything still is in the frames of this apocalyptic or whatever it is, the big entity of weird music that we just love to do with our old instruments.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, I kind of can sort of see coming a track like The Flight of the Bumblebee, but I wasn't expecting White Room, so I thought that was cool. About Flight of the Bumblebee and the upcoming record, metal classic metal, what can you tell us about it? Is it going to be 100% instrumental? What can you tell us about that?
Of course, I never should say anything that is 100% done before it is released, because so many times I always also found out that when we go to studio, we might get more and more ideas, and when you have a track, it could suddenly start to feel that actually it is still missing something, so maybe we turn this to be a vocal song or something. But we definitely will do more of those classical covers, because all of the three that we released this year, Bolero, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony stuff, and the Bumblebee, they have been really, in a way, for me at least, I really feel that it's even like a duty to kind of put old great classical songs and to remake them in our unique style. And of course there is tons of great classical compositions that still could be treated this way, and probably I should not say any of those, but I still have a couple of ideas already for like what to record next year and how to create the bigger metal classic thingy around it. But also it could be really interesting to have, for example, a very famous classical theme that we include there, for example, a pop voice or even a rap voice or something really. We will surprise you. Keep surprising ourselves, and somehow all the way.
I know it seems kind of obvious in this day and age, but since you know you're the protagonist, I wanted to ask you, why or when have you ever even thought about the connection between metal and classic music?
Yes, and I think that the connection, for me at least, I can speak about myself, how I feel music, is that the music is emotions. And in a way, I can get the same kind of emotional reaction out from so many different types of music. For example, if I'm really eager to hear something or if I need to release my anger, it could be released through various weird music styles. Of course, the grindcore or brutal metal is an obvious one that boosts your energy, but the classical music is full of furious songs that create you the same kind of like powerful or limitless feeling, as well as if you really, really desire something sentimental, you find the most beautiful classical music or rock ballads or something. So in a way, I feel that we should not maybe even separate music from each other if we think how they affect in our soul or hearts. And that's probably why I have a very, very wide musical taste. But of course, the way how you perform stuff, it changes a lot, and usually I would say that that concept is the one that the person kind of choose what fits to your likes, how do you want to see or consume the music. But still, with Apocalyptica, I think one of the coolest thing to realize is that if we go to play in front of really, really powerful metal festival audience, for example, if we can shock them by playing something really beautiful that they just don't expect anybody to play acoustic cellos somewhere there, and still feel like that, wow, this is so beautiful, and basically it sounds like Disney, but they are still like cheering for it, that woo, this is so great, dude. Or the other effect that you go to play to a classical audience and suddenly there is like a couple of guys rolling on the floors and headbanging with bloody face and, you know, brutal sound and fucking loud noise. And then the classical audience, if they get like such kind of an experience that they feel the power of that music, I love that thrill and the combination of really like breaking the boundaries in between how people are expecting their music to be served to them.
Okay, that's great. I've never really thought about it that way, but yeah, cool. It's like catharsis seems to be a word to feed in that connection between metal and classical music. But that's good to know. That's good to know, Perttu. Thank you very for the time. Thank you very much for the time with us. Before we go, since you mentioned earlier before we start the interview that was sort of your gaming room, what are you playing?
No, at the moment, I'm trying to play Gotham Knights, which basically is crashing down all the time with even my computer is relatively decent. But yeah, I decided long ago that I love to play games, but I also love to make music. So I most probably make more good demos if the entire setup is the same. So I just sit on this desk and I play meanwhile something, then I get bored with the game and maybe continue with Pro Tools and stuff. So it's very, at least for me, it's a useful way of working.
Yeah, you know, and with the current soundtrack for video games, I'm guessing it's, I mean, you probably have a different perspective.
Oh yeah, it's the video games, they are full of incredible music. Like I sometimes really just listen to even soundtracks, anything from Assassin's Creed to whatever, like they are amazing scores. And actually, if I say one kind of a dream that I would love to do would be more of a music for video games or even the entire scores, because that is still a territory that we didn't dive so deeply in. So definitely, as a gamer, of course, it would be like a dream come true.
And if you could pick like the video game for Apocalyptica to create the soundtrack, any video game from any decade or whatever, which one will it be?
Well, Elder Scrolls is kind of one of my very, very favorite sagas of all time. So, of course, the symphonical, really beautiful score for that, something like that. But I also hear that in a way, our rock type of music, it could probably more work in the shooters or something like that. Actually, we made a score with Mikko, our drummer, already long ago for one PlayStation 3 game called MAG, which was a multiplayer shooting game.
Okay.
Yeah, first-person arena type of a game, and it was cool, very cool, like how to create a riff and drum fill to describe that the tank explodes. It was kind of like, you know, interesting.
I could totally imagine Apocalyptica doing the soundtrack for like God of War or something like that.
Yeah, totally. I love that one as well. So, yeah. But gaming is really cool escape for me. Like it kind of keeps the imagination somewhere else than this world, which usually helps because I very much get anxious whenever I think about the political situations or the horrible things going on. So if I need to keep my mind open to be able to, for example, create new songs, gaming is a good escape to give you new ideas and perspective and stuff like that. So
cool. Thank you very much. You have a very nice day. Looking forward to see you guys next year here in Colombia.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you. Gracias. And
thank you.
See you.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.